Imagine a world where a tiny flicker of light blooms into a message from another galaxy. Princess Leia's holographic plea to Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Tony Stark effortlessly manipulating glowing blueprints of a futuristic suit. From Star Wars to Iron Man, holograms have dazzled us in countless stories, sparking our imaginations and making us wonder, when will this technology become real? Holograms have long been the quintessential symbol of science fiction, a glimpse into a high-tech future filled with breathtaking possibilities. But what if I told you that the future isn't as far away as it once seemed? What used to be fantasy is now on the edge of becoming reality. From concerts and boardrooms to surgery rooms, holography is slowly but surely stepping into the real world. How far have we really come in making this sci-fi dream a part of our everyday lives? What does it take to project light into a 3D world you can almost touch? Today, we're diving headfirst into the world of holograms to explore just how close we are to turning those iconic visions into something you could see in your own living room. Let's journey together and see if the holographic future we've been promised is closer than we think. So, let's cut through the sci-fi magic for a moment. What actually is a hologram? We've all seen the shimmering 3D images that seem to float in thin air. But what's going on behind the scenes to make these illusions happen? A real hologram is all about capturing light in a special way. Imagine freezing light waves, then replaying them so that they trick your eyes into seeing a 3D object that's not really there. It's like the ultimate magic trick for your eyes, using light interference, lasers, and some pretty fancy physics to fool your brain. Now, here's the thing. A lot of the holograms you've seen in movies or concerts aren't true holograms. Take those epic moments when Tupac was brought back to life at Coachella, or Michael Jackson was on stage again. These are actually using an old illusion technique called Pepper's Ghost, where light reflects off angled glass, creating the illusion of a 3D figure. It's cool, yes, but it's not the hologram technology we've been promised by Star Wars. The true magic of holography comes from lasers and light that interact to create actual 3D information in a space. It's much more complex than just projecting an image. It's about bending light to create depth, texture, and the feeling that what you're seeing is actually there, in all its three-dimensional glory. Imagine not just seeing a picture of an apple, but seeing the apple's stem and its shiny surface change as you move around it. That's the beauty of real holography. It's not just an illusion, it's a science that takes light and turns it into something with presence. So, as we move forward, let's see how far we've come in making these true holograms part of our world. And get ready, because it's a lot more than meets the eye. To truly appreciate the incredible holograms of today, we need to rewind, way back to the 1940s, when the idea of creating 3D images from light was just a flicker in the mind of a brilliant physicist named Dennis Gabor. Picture this. While the world was focused on rebuilding after the war, Gabor was in his lab, playing with lenses and beams of light, sketching out what would eventually win him the Nobel Prize, holography. And just like that, the dream of capturing images in a way that made them leap off the page began. Back then, holograms weren't the dazzling displays we imagine today. They were simple, ghostly shapes, early experiments that looked more like shadows brought to life. It wasn't until the 1960s, when lasers were developed, that holography truly began to shine. Suddenly, the blurry beginnings turned into sharp, mind-bending images that looked like you could reach out and grab them. Imagine a world seeing holograms for the first time. No computer screens, no fancy tech, just beams of light bent in ways people had never seen before. It was like stepping into a science fiction novel. In those early days, it wasn't about entertainment or cool concerts. It was about pushing the limits of what we could do with light, capturing reality in a whole new way. So here's to Dennis Gabor, the man who turned a flicker of light into the first chapter of a story that's still unfolding today. The story of how holography, starting as a small idea in a 1940s lab, laid the foundation for the sci-fi magic we dream of today. Holograms aren't just reserved for sci-fi movies anymore. They're making a big entrance into our real world, and in some pretty mind-blowing ways. Let's take a look at how this technology is becoming part of our lives today. First up, we have concerts and entertainment. Imagine standing in the crowd at Coachella, and suddenly, there's Tupac on stage, performing years after he passed away. Or ABBA, bringing their legendary songs to life with virtual versions of their younger selves. These moments are epic, almost magical, and show just how far holograms have come in entertaining us, letting us reconnect with legends in an unforgettable way. But it's not just about entertainment. Companies like Microsoft are stepping into the game, using holographic tech to change the way we work and communicate. Enter the HoloLens, a headset that allows you to bring 3D visuals right into your workspace. Imagine holding a virtual model of a car engine, turning it, examining it, all without leaving your desk. It's like bringing Tony Stark's workshop right into your office. And the magic doesn't stop there. Holograms are even making their way into hospitals. Imagine a surgeon prepping for a complex procedure, not by looking at 2D scans, but by using a holographic 3D model of a patient's organs, getting a complete view before making the first incision. It's transforming medicine, making surgery safer, and doctors better prepared. From concerts to boardrooms to operating rooms, holograms are already here, shaping our world in ways we only dreamed about a few years ago. And this is just the beginning. We're only scratching the surface of what these 3D wonders can do. Alright, so we know holograms are cool, but what makes them work? Let's dive into the science of how light gets bent into these mesmerizing floating images. Don't worry, we're keeping it simple, but fascinating. At the heart of it all is the laser, the superhero of holography. Lasers shoot out beams of light that are incredibly precise, and it's that precision that allows us to create the intricate interference patterns needed to form a hologram. Imagine the laser as an artist's brush, but instead of painting on a canvas, it's painting with light in midair. One of the tricks here is using special materials like photorefractive crystals. When a laser beam hits these crystals, they create patterns that can record a 3D image, kind of like a 3D version of a photograph. And there's also digital light processing, DLP, which uses tiny mirrors to create those beautiful holographic visuals, almost like magic, but with math. Now, you might be wondering, how does all of this compare to augmented reality, AR? Great question. AR overlays digital elements into the real world, like Pokemon Go or those cool Snapchat filters. But holography is on another level. It's not just about adding visuals to your environment, but actually projecting light in a way that makes it look like a real, 3D object is right in front of you. AR is fun, but holography? That's pure sci-fi wonder made real. So while it might seem like magic, it's really all about manipulating light, using lasers, crystals, and a lot of clever engineering. And as the tech improves, those once impossible holograms are becoming more and more real, lighting up our world in ways we never imagined. So, if holograms are so awesome, why don't we all have them in our homes already? Well, it turns out that making true holograms mainstream isn't easy. It's actually a lot harder than it looks in the movies. First off, projecting a full 3D light field into thin air is really complex. Unlike your regular TV or phone screen, which just shows flat images, holograms need to capture and project every angle, every little detail from all perspectives. Imagine trying to build something that not only displays an image, but makes it pop out like it's actually there. That takes a ton of computing power, specialized lasers, and some pretty complicated optics, and doing all of that while keeping the picture sharp and lifelike. Yeah, that's a whole different challenge. Then there's the equipment. Right now, to create a true hologram, you need some pretty sophisticated gear. Big machines, powerful lasers, and special materials that just aren't easy to fit into your living room. Most of the really cool holograms you see are made in labs, or with high-budget setups that require an entire team to run. It's not something you can plug into the wall like a toaster. Yet. And let's talk about cost. Today's holographic technology is pricey. We're talking about high-end lasers, specialized sensors, and a need for loads of data processing. All of that adds up, which means making holograms cheap enough for consumer use is still a huge hurdle. And even if we got the costs down, we'd need to build the infrastructure, like processors that could handle all that data without overheating, and materials that are both affordable and durable. So, while the dream of having a holographic assistant pop out of your watch might still be some years away, scientists and engineers are working hard to solve these puzzles. Each breakthrough brings us a little bit closer to that sci-fi future we all want. But for now, the magic of holography is still something that takes a lot of work and a lot of light to pull off. Now let's turn up the imagination dial to max and think about the future of holograms. Because what's coming next is straight out of the movies. Picture this. Instead of a regular video call, you're chatting with a full-blown holographic version of your friend, right in your living room. Just like those holographic calls in Star Wars. No more staring at a flat screen. It's like they're actually sitting right there, talking to you. And it doesn't stop at communication. Imagine interactive holographic classrooms where learning goes beyond textbooks. Instead of reading about ancient Rome, students could explore a 3D holographic model of the Colosseum, walking around it and seeing history come to life right before their eyes. Education could become an immersive experience where information isn't just read, it's experienced. Then there's shopping. Forget staring at a picture of a product online. How about seeing a holographic model of that new couch, projecting it right into your living room to check if it matches your style? Or standing in a store, holding a holographic version of a product, inspecting every little detail before you decide to buy. The retail experience would be unlike anything we've ever seen, making decisions easier, more interactive, and way more fun. And this isn't just a dream. Companies like Light Field Labs are already working on ultra-realistic, large-scale holographic displays that might one day bring these experiences to life. The tech is evolving fast, and every year, we're getting closer to that future where holograms aren't just a sci-fi fantasy, but a part of our everyday routine. The possibilities are endless, and the excitement is real. From communication to education, shopping to entertainment, holography has the power to change everything about how we see and interact with the world around us. The future's bright, and it's filled with light. All right, let's get real for a second. How close are we actually to those holograms we see in the movies? Are we talking about calling someone like in Star Wars, or designing stuff mid-air like Tony Stark in Iron Man? Let's put our sci-fi dreams side by side with what we have right now. First up, Star Wars holographic calls. The idea of a tiny, flickering version of your friend appearing on your desk is super iconic. Right now, though, our holograms aren't quite there yet. We can project some 3D images, but getting a full-on, walk-around hologram that can communicate in real time is still a bit out of reach. We have some incredible tech, like Microsoft's HoloLens, which blends digital content into our reality, but it's not the full floating hologram experience, yet. And then there's Iron Man. Tony Stark's holographic workbench is every tech lover's dream. Today we do have augmented reality and mixed reality tech that lets us manipulate 3D images, but it usually requires headsets and a lot of processing power. The holographic displays we've seen so far are more like advanced screens, still bound by equipment, not quite the freestanding visuals that Tony flicks and moves with ease. But the gap is closing. Experts say that the pieces are falling into place. Advanced lasers, improved image processing, and new materials are all being developed to make the holographic tech we see on the big screen more achievable. We might not be summoning holographic chess games on a whim just yet, but some groundbreaking projects are pushing those boundaries faster than you'd expect. So, while we're not quite living the sci-fi hologram dream, we're definitely on the way. It's like we're at the halfway point, standing on the edge of reality, with one foot still in the pages of sci-fi. And honestly, seeing how far we've come just makes the journey even more exciting. So, the big question, when can we all start using holograms at home? Imagine a holographic TV that projects your favorite movie characters right into your living room, or even a personal assistant that pops up in 3D to help you out with your daily tasks. It sounds like something straight out of the future, but is it really that far off? Right now, we're inching closer. Companies are experimenting with holographic displays that could fit into consumer homes, like holographic projectors that could turn any surface into a 3D display. Imagine watching the weather forecast, but instead of a flat image on your TV, you get a 3D holographic cloud swirling over your coffee table. It's pretty wild to think about how that could change our experience of entertainment, communication, and even learning. But there are still some big challenges to overcome before holograms become as common as flat-screen TVs. For starters, the tech is still really expensive. Creating full-color, realistic 3D images that float in space takes a lot of power, special lasers, and advanced materials, all of which are pretty costly to produce on a large scale. And then, there's the question of size and setup. Holographic tech still requires bulky equipment that's not exactly living room friendly, plus the processing power to handle all that data is huge. Despite these hurdles, progress is being made every day. Experts believe that with advances in laser technology, computing power, and even AI, we could be seeing early versions of holographic displays entering homes in the next decade or so. It might start with holographic games or interactive displays before evolving into full-blown home entertainment systems. So, while you might not be having a holographic movie night this weekend, it's not as distant as it once seemed. We're on the cusp of a whole new wave of at-home entertainment. And the best part is, it's going to be in 3D, right there with you. Get ready, because the future of entertainment might just be glowing, floating, and popping up in your living room sooner than you think. We've journeyed from the first flickers of light in a lab to the dazzling holograms on concert stages and beyond. It's incredible how far we've come, turning what once seemed like pure imagination into something real. And yet, there's still so much to look forward to. Imagine a world where holograms are as common as smartphones, where you could have a holographic movie night, or chat with a friend who pops up as a 3D image in your living room. We're not there yet, but every breakthrough brings us one step closer. Now, let's dream a little. If you had access to holographic technology, what would you do with it? Would you attend a holographic concert with your favorite artist? Or maybe project a holographic double of yourself to help out with chores? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your wildest holographic dreams. And as we wrap up, just remember, the future is full of light, imagination, and endless possibilities. Who knows? Maybe that holographic world of our dreams is closer than we think. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the past, present, and future of holograms. Make sure to like, subscribe, and keep dreaming big, because the best is yet to come.